My parents told the doctor to let me die because they'd already planned my funeral. When my kidneys failed for the third time, they were arguing over who gets my car. Then the entire hospital lost power before backup generators roared to life. My wife, the cybersecurity CEO they'd never met, had remotely taken control of the building. Dr. Amanda Cartwright stood at the foot of my hospital bed at 3:17 p.m. on a Thursday afternoon, her tablet displaying my latest kidney function results, and asked my parents the question. That would change everything. If Daniel's kidneys fail again and his heart stops, do you want us to resuscitate? My mother didn't even look up from her phone. She was scrolling through something, her perfectly manicured nails clicking against the screen. How much does resuscitation cost? My father, sitting in the chair by the window, set down his coffee. Actually, we've been thinking about this. We've already made arrangements with Eternal Rest Funeral Home. They're holding a slot for Saturday. It would be a shame to waste the deposit. Dr. Cartwright's expression froze. In 19 years of practicing nephrology, she'd seen families struggle with end-of-life decisions, seen grief manifest in 1,000 different ways, but this was something else entirely. I'm sorry, she said carefully. Are you saying you don't want us to save your son's life because you've already paid for his funeral? We're saying, my mother finally looked up, that Daniel has always been expensive. This hospital stay alone has cost us over $40,000 in deductibles and co-pays. At some point, we have to be practical. I'd been living what I thought was a normal life for 28 years before my kidneys decided to stage a coordinated rebellion against my body. I was a software developer for a mid-sized tech company in Austin, worked reasonable hours, ate relatively healthy, went to the gym twice a week when I remembered. My parents, Gerald and Linda Hawthorne, were what you'd call comfortably middle class. Dad ran a small insurance agency. Mom was a real estate agent who specialized in luxury homes she'd never be able to afford herself. They'd always been somewhat materialistic, always concerned about appearances and status, but I'd written it off as generational quirks. Everyone's parents are weird in their own way, right? What they didn't know, what nobody except my best friend Kyle knew, was that 6 months ago, I'd married the most remarkable woman I'd ever met. Her name was Alexis Vance, and she was the founder and CEO of Sentinel Systems, a cybersecurity firm that protected some of the largest corporations and government agencies in the world. We'd met at a tech conference in San Francisco. Her presentation on zero-day vulnerabilities and adaptive threat response had been brilliant, terrifying, and somehow funny. 3 months later, she'd proposed to me in a tiny ramen shop in Tokyo at 2 a.m. after we'd spent the evening debugging code together in her hotel room. We'd gotten married at a courthouse in Seattle with Kyle as our witness. No family, no fanfare, just two people who'd found each other against all odds. Why the secrecy? Alexis had been burned before by people who wanted her money, her connections, her influence. She'd learned to keep her personal life absolutely private, and I understood. I'd never told my parents because I knew exactly what would happen. They'd want to meet her, want to be involved, want to leverage her success for their own social climbing. So we kept it quiet. The kidney problem started 3 weeks ago. I'd been feeling tired, more than usual, sleeping 10 hours and still waking up exhausted. Then came the swelling in my legs, the nausea, the weird metallic taste in my mouth that wouldn't go away. Alexis was in Singapore for a major security conference when I finally admitted something was wrong. She'd wanted to fly home immediately, but I'd insisted. I was fine. It was probably just a virus. I'd see a doctor. When she got back in 4 days, by day 3, I couldn't keep food down. By day 4, I was urinating blood. Kyle found me, passed out in my apartment, and called 911. The paramedics rushed me to St. David's Medical Center, where Dr. Cartwright took one look at my labs and admitted me to the ICU immediately. Acute kidney injury, she'd explained. Both kidneys were failing simultaneously without immediate dialysis and aggressive treatment. I had maybe 48 hours before complete organ failure. She'd asked for my emergency contacts. I'd given her my parents' information because Alexis was 8,000 miles away and unreachable. My parents arrived at the hospital 3 hours later. My mother walked in wearing a Chanel suit and carrying a designer handbag that probably cost more than my monthly rent. My father had come straight from a business lunch, smelling like expensive scotch and cigars. Daniel, my mother said, not hugging me, not touching me, just standing at the foot of my bed, looking vaguely inconvenienced. The nurses said you're in kidney failure, both of them, and now, standing in my ICU room, listening to them discuss the cost-benefit analysis of keeping me alive, I realized something that made my blood run cold. Full story is linked below or on my channel.